If you've already decided that Tampa Bay is the move and now you're staring at beach homes wondering how the heck people actually afford to live near the water down here, this video is going to be for you. Because here's what I've learned after 8 years of living near the Gulf Coast. Most people doing their homework and researching beach areas are really asking the wrong question. And they're usually asking things like this: what does a house near the water cost? And that's a really fair question, but it's not the one that's going to decide whether you end up loving the move or end up regretting it. The real question is, how do I get the most amount of living with the least amount of risk for that price? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, two houses on the exact same block, same price, same square footage, can cost wildly different amounts to actually own. One of them will quietly drain your bank account to the tune of $5,000 to $10,000 more a year than the other, and almost no one walks you through why that happens. So today we're gonna do the math out loud. We're gonna talk about what each price point in the area really gets you near the coast, what to look out for, and how to get the whole beach lifestyle without buying the risk that comes along with it. So make sure you stick with me, because the part that most people miss doesn't show up until you own a place until 2 or 3 years later. And if you're wondering who I am and why you should be listening at all, I get it. And over the last 5 years, I've helped over 200 families make the move here to Tampa Bay. And I've seen and learned a lot over that time. And the ones who get into trouble near the water, it's almost never the price of the home that really got them in the weeds. It was the stuff that they didn't factor in: the insurance, the flood zone, the rebuild rules, the costs that don't show up on the Zillow listing, but show up in your bank account every single month. And here's why I take this one personally. My wife Kate and I packed up our family of 5, sold almost everything we owned, and moved 1,200 miles south here. And honestly, we've been loving it ever since. And we've also lived through one of those worst case scenarios. We had flooding in our home when Hurricane Milton came through the area. So when I talk about flood risk in Tampa Bay, I'm not speaking from theory, we've actually lived through it. And that's exactly why I don't want you learning this the hard way. One of the things I always share with my clients is, let us wear the scar and you can learn the lesson. Now, if you're someone who has the cash to buy one of those brand new elevated Gulf front construction homes, some of what we're going to talk about today isn't going to apply to you, so feel free to skip around. But if you're like most of the people that we meet with on Zoom, you're working with a real budget and trying to get the most lifestyle for it. And this is the conversation that's going to save you not only money, but a heck of a lot of stress, and make sure that you're getting in the right place the very first time. And one last thing before we dig in, I put videos out like this every single week because the decision is too big to get wrong. So be sure to subscribe if you get value out of this video so you don't miss any of the ones that matter most to your move. All right, so let's get started with the thing that controls everything down here. It's not the neighborhood, it's not even the house. It's a single letter on a flood map. Because every property near the water gets its own flood zone designation. And for the conversation today, it really comes down to the 3 that you need to know about: Flood Zone X, where I'm in, AE, and VE. And I want you to think of each one of these letters as a lifestyle tax, because that's what they really are. And when we break down the math, this is honestly where it gets real. A home in Flood Zone X, it's the minimal risk zone. Flood insurance runs somewhere from around $500 to $600 a year. And I know this because we cover it on our home, and it's about $600. I think our new policy was $589. We're getting ready to pay it right now. And sometimes it's not even required. It is not required for my home. However, I've already learned that lesson, and now we're going to carry it as long as we continue to live here. It's part of that lifestyle tax for us. Now, if we slide the same house out onto a coastal zone, VE for example, the high hazard zone, wave action zone, right on the Gulf, the flood premium on that home can run anywhere from $3,500 annually to $15,000 a year. I'm talking about just the flood. That's not the homeowner's insurance. So it's the same family, the same furniture, completely different cost of living. And that's really one of the things that is going to trip people up. Because under the new FEMA pricing, they look at things like your first floor height, the distance to the water, and the cost to rebuild your home, which means two houses on the same street can carry totally different insurance premiums. You can't eyeball this one. You have to pull the zones before you fall in love with a home. Now, there's some good news, because it's not all scary when it comes to living in Pinellas County. And here's why. The county has earned one of the highest flood preparedness ratings in the entire country. And what that means for you in plain dollars is up to a 40% discount on flood insurance. And this is going to get applied automatically to your insurance policy. So your money stretches a lot further here than other coastal regions in Florida. And that's the kind of thing that no one puts on their listing when you're looking at Zillow at night. So your question shouldn't be, can I afford the house? The question is, which zone am I buying into? Because that letter is going to ride along with you every single month that you own that place. But this is where things tend to get pretty interesting because the zone is the only thing that you can see coming. And there's usually a second one hiding behind it. And if you have questions, there are two ways you can get those answered. One, you can leave a comment down below. I answer all of those personally. Number two, you'll find a link down there with all of our contact information. You can schedule a Zoom at your convenience. I'll open up Google Map, I'll walk you through the area, and we'll really help you pinpoint those communities that match your ideal lifestyle. Okay, so this is the one that I really need you to hear because this is the one that ambushes a lot of people. And I call it the 2-year surprise. The official name is the FEMA 50% rule. And here's how it works. Say you're looking to buy an older beach home, the kind with good bones, and it's coming at a great price. A couple years in, you want to renovate, or the storm comes through and now you need to do some repairs. The moment the cost of that work hits 50% of the structure's value, FEMA says the whole house is going to have to come up to current flood code. And on the barrier islands, current code can mean lifting your home 10 plus feet off the ground. And we're not talking about paint and carpet numbers here. Elevating a house like that can run well over 6 figures. We saw anywhere between $200,000 and $300,000 on average after the hurricanes to bring those homes up to the current elevation and code standards. Now, can you imagine budgeting for a kitchen remodel and finding out you have to raise the entire house? That's the surprise that I'm talking about, and it's not theory. Roughly 4 in 10 Pinellas homes sit in the lowest lying coastal high hazard area. And after the hurricanes of 2024, towns like Treasure Island, St. Pete Beach, and Paso Grill actually had to rethink how they apply this rule just to keep storm damaged homes from being forced into teardowns. This is a real issue right now. And we see this all the time. I had a client, a couple from up north. They were set on an older place right on the sand. They loved it. And when we ran the numbers together, the flood zone premium plus the future renovation would trigger that 50% rule. And what they told me was they didn't move to Florida to become construction project managers. So we had to change the plan, but not the lifestyle goals. So we were looking for the same lifestyle, a way better home in a non-flood zone. And we're gonna get into exactly how to do that in a minute. So remember, when you're shopping older beach homes, the question isn't what's the price? It's what does this house cost me to own and what is it gonna cost me when I want to change anything about it in the future? And that really should help you reframe how to approach beachfront living. Okay, so let's put it all together and actually walk you through some tiers of how it's structured, because this is where you're gonna see how far your money really goes. I'm gonna show you each price point 2 different ways. One of them is going to be on the barrier islands, right on the sand, versus what you can get 10 minutes or less from the beach. And just to be transparent with y'all, this is how we approached it. We could not afford to be on the barrier islands when we moved down here 8 years ago. And we bought a home. We're 8 minutes to Indian Rocks Beach. We absolutely love it. We're grateful for our home. Yes, we had some issues and we had to work through those things. And we've done a really good job of mitigating those challenges in the future. And we love where we live, y'all. If most people went through what we went through, they'd probably pack up and leave. But we have no plans of exchanging the lifestyle that we have because of the inconvenience. And trust me, it was a big one. I know that's a word that some of you may not use, but for us, we knew the exchange when we moved to Florida. We live on a peninsula in the ocean. There is, of course, risk associated with that. And that was the exchange that we were willing to make because we wanted to wake up and have walks on the beach or catch sunsets on the beach every single day. We wanted to see our children grow up on the Gulf. And that may not be your lifestyle. Maybe you're in retirement mode and you just want to wake up and open your door wall and see the Gulf every day. And we serve clients like this every single day. So I get it. And I know that these things are considerations. And I know for some people they're deal breakers. And we just want to make sure that we're being transparent with y'all. So let's get into these pricing brackets because I think they're going to be helpful for you. So for around $500,000 on the barrier islands, this tier mostly buys you a condo or an older small block home that is going to need a ton of work. And you're almost certainly in an AE or a VE flood zone. So you're carrying the higher flood premium, and that 50% rule sits over any future work you're going to do on the home. Now take that same $500,000 and move just 10 minutes or less back, you're jumping over across the intercoastal waterway there in areas like Seminole and Inland Largo, the north end of Dunedin, and now you're looking at a solid single family home, often in Zone X, which doesn't even require you to carry flood insurance in most cases. Again, it is usually optional at that. And this is where the flood cost drops to almost nothing. It's the same $500,000 you're looking to spend, but one version is gonna stretch your lifestyle and one version is gonna stretch your wallet. Now, what happens when we jump up to around $750,000? On the islands, this is gonna be your renovated mid-tier or nice condo. It's beautiful, but still carrying a lot of coastal risk. If you move 10 minutes back in Dunedin or Safety Harbor even, that same number now buys you newer, larger, and walkable to a real downtown. And Safety Harbor's a great example of this because it sits in old Tampa Bay, not on the Gulf. So you get that water lifestyle with a fraction of the surge exposure that most people are concerned about. You feel the water, but you're not paying for the risk. Now, what happens when you're spending $1 million and up? And this tier is where buying on the water can actually make a lot of sense for people, but only if you do it right. What you're really looking for is newer, elevated, built for it construction, not a pretty teardown waiting for the next storm. But if you take that same $1 million and move inland and start living coastal, you are getting genuine luxury at this price point. You're gonna see a pool, you're gonna get a lot of space, you're definitely gonna be close to walkable areas. And this is really where your insurance becomes an afterthought instead of a monthly wound. And listen, I get it, we love the beach. And for those beach babies in the audience, I see you out there and I know exactly what you're looking for because this is who we are. And I wanna be as transparent with you as possible. And just know what most of what you actually want from the beach, the morning walk, the sunset, the salt air, the laid back peace, and you can get that same lifestyle just by moving over the intercoastal waterway back into these communities. You're gonna have a lot less risk and get a lot more house for your money. And y'all, the amount of clients that we've had that wanted to be on the Gulf that moved just 1 or 2 blocks off and are super happy, that ends up being almost all of them. And there is also one thing that I think a lot of people need to be aware of. Right now, at the time of this recording, if you're coming in with a budget of $450 or less, hoping to get beach direct or beach access, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's a really tough spot, and you're just gonna save yourself months of frustration by just looking a little bit inland from day one. Quality homes in Dunedin and Clearwater really start around $450 to $550, and knowing that upfront is the difference between a smooth search and one that really just upsets you and makes you sad all the time. So here's the 30,000 foot view. Near the water in Tampa Bay, the price tag is the small number. The real cost is the risk associated with that home, the flood zone, the insurance, the rebuild rules, and that's the part you actually get to control if you know how to look. And even though I walk through a lot of these challenges, there's been a lot of good news here in Tampa Bay. Insurance here is finally easing. Our homeowners insurance has gone down. Our auto insurance has gone down for 2 years, and we're not the only ones. Tampa Bay homeowners premiums tend to run well below the worst of Florida. And in 2026, we're seeing rate cuts and new companies coming back into the market. I think we have 20 insurers now, which is excellent. So the timing isn't bad. It's just about being smart where on the map you plant your flag. Because if you're gonna move here for peace of mind, for the version of Florida where you wake up, walk to the water, and don't think about any of this, then getting the risk math right isn't optional, it's the whole thing. So here's what I want you to take from all of this. Living near the beach in Tampa Bay is actually affordable, and all of the fear-mongering content online makes it look really, really gnarly. And trust me, you can step on landmines, but if you know how to do this wisely, if you think about it, if you approach this in a way with a plan, you can mitigate a lot of those challenges. And trust me, when you wake up every day and you realize you don't have to shovel sunshine anymore, it's going to be sunny for 300 days out of the year, and people love where they live, this is a place that you are never going to regret moving to. So if you're trying to figure out which beach community actually fits your ideal lifestyle and your budget, feel free to reach out to me and the team. All of our contact information is down below. Heck, there's even a link where you can schedule a time to talk to me. We'll jump on Zoom. I'll open up Google Maps. I'll walk you through these areas. This is my backyard. I'm happy to do it. I'm gonna put 2 more videos up here that are gonna help you kind of work and navigate through this as well. And as always, until next time, guys, go out and live that Tampa life.